God, I hate doing these. I thought today I'd talk to you a little bit about work, because work's something that I've had quite a lot of backlash over. I worked. I had, to me, it was an absolutely amazing job, amazing hospital, amazing people that I worked with. Absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. My little boy came along. I was still with his dad at the time, and like I said before, things became sort of apparent that he was a bit different. There was a lot of appointments and whatnot for him. I worked nights. I worked from 8 o'clock in the evening till midnight, and then I was on call from midnight till 8 o'clock in the morning. It was a lot of emergency stuff that we had come in, so, obviously you had to be on the ball. Saying that, I absolutely loved it. I couldn't ask for a better bunch of people to work with. The ladies that I worked with were absolutely cracking, and still are. Definitely worth their weight in gold, definitely. But working them sort of hours, obviously my husband at the time worked in the day, so I worked nights. It took its toll quite a bit, especially when you sort of up all day with a child with autism and you've got the stress of all these appointments. When he was going through his diagnosis process, I'd never heard of autism. I didn't have a clue what was going on with him. I just knew there was something wrong and needed to get to the bottom of it. As time went on, and you've got all these different appointments and you're trying to work, and you've got all the worry of what's going on. With him, you've got people coming into your home to work with him. You've got people on the phone, you've got people writing to you. It was exhausting, and it got to the point with my husband at the time. Come on home. He didn't accept, or he didn't want to accept. There was something different. And he made my life hell. Oh, God, this is so hard. He made my life hell. Over it, to the point that I was not far off some sort of nervous breakdown. Because there were so many people sort of coming into our life, and then obviously it became quite apparent he couldn't go to a mainstream school. We had to get him into a special needs school, which is fine, but that is one hell of a fight. Everything to do with special needs children is a constant fight and a constant battle. I don't think people quite understand just how hard it is. So obviously I went to the doctors. I was a bit of a state. They signed me off for a little bit, which kind of helped a bit. And then it got to the point where people sort of said to me, look, Helen, you can't do this. You can't, you can't carry on like this. Your little boy's your main priority, and work's just gonna have to go. And I was gutted. Absolutely gutted. Sorry. I left the job that I had, for a few hours. I could be me. I wasn't at home. I didn't have things like Thomas the Tank Engine constantly on repeat. Anybody that's got a child or knows the child with autism knows that they like to obsess over things. So yeah, that was my little bit of me. I could just be me for a little bit. Not forget what was going on, but it took my mind off the situation that I was in. Not being at work it's made it a bit easier, especially with all your appointments and things like that. Can you imagine working and then saying to your employer, I've got so many appointments this week, so I need the time off? To be fair to them, they're going to get pretty pissed off with it. But you do get a lot of backlash and a lot of nastiness for not working. You get the, well, I work, Helen. Do you know what work is? Yeah, I do. But at the moment, what do I do? Special needs children, you can't just put them in regular childcare with, quite a few other children and expect them to get on with it, because it doesn't work like that. They need a lot of looking after. Absolutely no sense of danger whatsoever. You quite often find them doing things that your heart literally jumps out of your mouth. You get a lot of hassle from the job centre as well, which you could do without. They know your situation. They know you've got 3 special needs children, and they come out with stupid things like, well, they're not going to be kids forever. Yes, I know that, sweetheart, but what you're saying, they're going to reach, 15, 16 and suddenly not be autistic? It's a condition that they've got for life. I'd dearly love to be able to go back to work and just be me for a little bit. Having children like mine is quite isolating. It's quite lonely, and there's a lot of grieving that goes on with it. You have this little baby and you get put in your arms and you have all these things go in your head, all these little hopes and dreams for them. I don't know what the future holds for my children, but then things turn and you're sort of thrown into this world that you haven't got a clue about. I mean, my oldest one now will be 9 in a couple of months, and obviously he's lived with me all his life, but even now it's still a big learning curve, a hell of a big learning curve. We have days and I think, oh my God, we've got to do this. He's going to have a big meltdown. Oh, panic. We do it and he's absolutely fine. And I think, oh my God, okay. But we could do the same thing a few days later and all hell break loose. But there's been other times where I think, he'd be all right with that. No, how wrong could I be? So yeah, it does take a lot of time. I mean, my oldest one, he struggles. He understands things one day, and then the next day it's gone. It's like you have to train his brain every day. It's so difficult for me to understand and to sort of explain to anybody how it is. I mean, he's in a fantastic school and he can be there till he's 19. Very, very lucky. Very, very lucky. That is one hell of a school, and I can't thank and praise that school and their staff enough. They are absolutely amazing. But even so, they don't sort of push the children up like they do in mainstream. They do their year and then that's it, off they go to the next year. But I Finley's school, they don't. If they're not ready to go up to that next year, they don't go. So at the moment, he's, like I said, almost 9, and he's, if you put it in sort of mainstream equivalent, he's in the equivalent to what my 6-year-old, nearly 7-year-old's in. That's how it is, and that's fine. He's happy, he likes school, but the whole situation with not being able to go to work, it's not something that I'm proud of, and I hate it when people say to me, "Oh, what do you do for a job?" And I think, oh, here we go, and you either get the real nasty and they just look you up and down as if you're something they've just stood in, or you get the, do you know what, I'm not surprised, you've got more than enough going on for one person. I don't know even how you'd be able to go to work for a little while yet. But yeah, I suppose from the outside, oh, look at her, she sat there in that house, she don't go to work, she don't do nothing, blah, 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 she just sits on her ass all day. I wish I did sit on my ass all day, Jesus. My children don't see their fathers, and that's obviously something that I can't go into, but there is only me here. So, on top of the way my children are, I've still got everything else to do. It is knackering. You get I can't sit on my ass and get all that money coming in. Well, actually, there isn't a lot of money coming in, sweetheart. There really isn't. Obviously I do the best that I can for my kids. If they need things, you sort of claw back as much as you can. I've had days where they've, coming up for September school time and they've needed uniforms. I've had days where I've survived on a banana a day. But you do it because they're your kids and that's how life is. I personally don't get a great deal of help with anything really. But somehow you learn to just get on with it and do it. You've got to give your kids the best that you can. And that's what I try to do. But, people in my situation, we've got a lot going on. As you can probably tell, I don't like talking about my life or my children. It takes a lot for me to open up and talk to people about them. But sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and do it so that people kind of understand a little bit more. And maybe rather than, they don't work, they don't do this, they don't do that, they don't do the other, blah, 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 blah. Just stop. Just stop. Because I can guarantee if we swapped lives for a day, you wouldn't be able to do it. I'm not saying I'm some super mum. I've had all them sarcastic comments. Super mum, No. I'm just doing a mum, just doing what you do as a parent, what you do as a mum. I'm on the situation that I'm in, and you just got to get on with it. Ride the good days and the bad days, but maybe rather than keep judging when you don't actually know, or you're that ignorant that you don't want to have any sort of understanding or anything, just keep it to yourself. Seriously, keep it to yourself, because life's hard enough for everybody, not just people in my situation, but for everybody, without the constant judging and, you should be doing this and you should be doing that and you should do the other. Just stop. Just give it a break, because, you can go through life judging people and saying things, but you never know when that's going to come back and smack you pretty fucking hard, and you might end up in a situation like I am.